Listen to me for the next 30 seconds, because this may be the moment that quietly changes how you see yourself forever. There comes a day when a woman realizes she is done shrinking, done explaining her worth, done waiting for permission to become who she was meant to be. This is not about arrogance, not about superiority, not about proving anything to anyone. This is about power with grace, confidence with compassion, and standards rooted in self-respect. If you have ever felt you were made for more, if you have ever felt a fire inside you that refuses to go out, then stay with me, because today is about becoming a high-value woman from the inside out. A high-value woman is not created by money, beauty, status, or attention. She is created by the decisions she makes every single day when no one is watching. She understands that her life is shaped not by her circumstances, but by her standards. She does not ask, "What will I accept?" She asks, "What will I no longer tolerate?" And in that question, her life begins to change. She knows her worth, not because someone told her, but because she took the time to discover it. She looked at her pain, her past, her disappointments, and instead of letting them define her, she allowed them to refine her. A high-value woman takes responsibility for her life, not blame, responsibility. She understands that responsibility is power. The moment she stops pointing fingers, she gains control. She realizes that every excuse costs her something, and every honest decision gives her something back. She no longer waits for motivation, she builds rituals. She no longer waits to feel confident, she acts with courage, and confidence follows. She understands that discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. She invests in her mind because she knows her thoughts shape her reality. She is careful about what she listens to, what she watches, and what she allows to influence her emotions. She understands that if she feeds her fears, they grow, but if she feeds her vision, it becomes unstoppable. She reads, she learns, she stretches herself beyond what is comfortable, because comfort never built greatness. Growth did. And growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels empowering. A high-value woman understands emotional mastery. She does not deny her feelings, but she does not let them run her life. She feels deeply, but she chooses wisely. She understands that emotions are signals, not commands. She pauses before reacting. She breathes before responding. She knows that true strength is not loud, and true confidence does not need to prove itself. She can walk away from chaos without explaining herself, because peace is more valuable to her than being right. She sets boundaries without guilt. She understands that saying no is not rejection, it is protection. Protection of her energy, her time, her dreams. She does not overgive hoping to be loved. She gives from overflow, not emptiness. She knows that people will treat her the way she allows, and so she raises her standards, not her voice. She does not chase attention. She attracts respect by the way she carries herself. A high-value woman takes care of her body, not out of vanity, but out of appreciation. She understands that her body is the vehicle through which she experiences life. She moves it, nourishes it, rests it. She listens to it. She understands that energy is everything, and how she treats her body determines how she shows up in the world. She does not punish herself for imperfections. She honors herself through consistency and care. She is intentional with her time. She knows that time is the most valuable currency she has because it is the one thing she can never get back. She spends it on growth, on purpose, on people who uplift her. She is no longer available for drama disguised as entertainment or relationships disguised as obligation. She chooses alignment over approval. She understands that every yes is a trade, and she is careful about what she trades her life for. A high-value woman understands her value in relationships. She does not beg for love, loyalty, or effort. She knows that real connection is mutual, balanced, and respectful. She does not try to change people, she observes them. She listens to actions more than words. And when something no longer aligns with her values, she has the courage to walk away, even when it hurts, even when it's hard. Because she understands that staying in the wrong place costs more than leaving. She does not compete with other women. She collaborates, supports, and uplifts. She understands that comparison is the thief of joy and sisterhood is a source of strength. She celebrates other women's success without feeling threatened. Because she knows that another woman's shine does not dim her own. She focuses on becoming better, not bitter. She builds, not tears down. A high-value woman has a vision for her life. Not a vague wish, but a clear direction. She knows what she wants, why she wants it, and who she must become to achieve it. She understands that goals are not achieved by chance, but by commitment. She plans, she prepares, and she persists, and when she fails, she learns. When she falls, she rises stronger. She does not see setbacks as signs to stop, but as signals to adjust. She speaks to herself with kindness and truth. She does not allow her inner voice to become her greatest enemy. She challenges negative thoughts. She replaces self-doubt with self-belief. She understands that the way she talks to herself sets the tone for how she lives her life. She chooses empowering questions. She asks, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What is this trying to teach me? A high-value woman understands that confidence is built through promises kept to herself. Small promises, daily promises, getting up when she says she will, doing what she said she would do, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. Because integrity with herself builds trust, and trust builds unshakable confidence. She embraces her femininity as a strength, not a weakness. She understands that softness and strength can coexist. She can be compassionate and firm, gentle and powerful. She does not dim her light to make others comfortable. She allows herself to be seen, heard, and valued. She owns her presence without apology. A high-value woman understands that becoming is a journey, not a destination. She does not wait to be perfect to start. She starts where she is, with what she has. She commits to progress, not perfection. She understands that every day is an opportunity to choose herself again, to rise a little higher, to love herself a little deeper, to live a little more intentionally. And here is the truth that changes everything. The moment you decide to become a high-value woman, your world responds differently. Opportunities shift, relationships change, standards rise. Not because the world suddenly became kinder, but because you became clearer. Clear about who you are. Clear about what you deserve. Clear about what you will no longer accept. So as you move forward from this moment, remember this: becoming a high-value woman is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to who you were always meant to be. Strong, grounded, self-respecting, purpose-driven. And when you live from that place, you don't chase a better life. You become the woman a better life is drawn to. Because becoming a high-value woman is not about pretending, performing, or proving anything to the world. It is about remembering who you already are, and then deciding with absolute certainty that you will no longer live beneath your potential. It's about standards. It's about identity. It's about the energy you bring into every room, every relationship, every decision. And once that identity locks in, everything else must rise to meet it. A high-value woman does not wait for permission to live boldly. She does not wait to be chosen to feel worthy. She chooses herself first. She understands that the way she treats her body, her mind, her time, and her emotions sets the blueprint for how the world will treat her. When you raise your standards internally, the external world has no choice but to respond differently. Not immediately, not magically, but inevitably she wakes up knowing her life matters. She moves through the day with intention, not urgency. She doesn't rush into conversations trying to be liked. She doesn't shrink her voice to keep the peace. She doesn't over-explain her boundaries. She knows that clarity is kindness and self-respect is non-negotiable. She understands that saying no to what drains her is saying yes to what strengthens her. A high-value woman invests in herself even when no one is watching. She reads when others scroll. She reflects when others react. She trains her body not to punish it, but to honor it. She feeds her mind with ideas that expand her, not stories that weaken her. She knows discipline is not restriction, it is freedom in its highest form. And let me tell you something powerful: she is not fearless. She feels fear just like everyone else, but she has trained herself to act in spite of it. Fear does not drive her decisions, values do. Purpose does. Vision does. She understands that confidence is not loud. Confidence is calm. Confidence is consistency. Confidence is showing up again and again, even when motivation disappears. She does not chase validation. She attracts alignment. She does not beg for attention. She commands respect through the way she carries herself. Her posture speaks before her words. Her silence speaks louder than her explanations. She understands that desperation repels and certainty draws people in. A high-value woman is emotionally intelligent. She feels deeply, but she does not let emotions control her actions. She has learned how to pause, how to breathe, how to respond instead of react. She does not hand the steering wheel of her life to someone else's mood, opinion, or approval. She knows her triggers, and she takes responsibility for healing them instead of bleeding on people who didn't cause the wounds. She chooses growth over comfort. That means she is willing to outgrow old versions of herself, even when it's painful. Even when it means letting go of relationships that no longer align. Even when it means standing alone for a season. She understands that loneliness is temporary, but self-betrayal lasts a lifetime. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Becoming a high-value woman will make some people uncomfortable. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your growth reflects what they have avoided. Your boundaries expose their lack of them. Your discipline highlights their excuses. Instead of dimming your light to make them comfortable, you keep shining without apology. She does not confuse attention with affection. She does not confuse intensity with intimacy. She takes her time. She observes patterns. She listens not just to words, but to behavior. She knows that consistency is the true language of commitment, and she will walk away from potential if it comes packaged with disrespect. A high-value woman understands her worth is not tied to relationship status, age, or external achievements. She knows her value is intrinsic. It is rooted in her character, her integrity, her resilience. She does not negotiate herself, respect for temporary comfort. She does not stay where she is tolerated instead of cherished. She speaks to herself with kindness, but she also holds herself accountable. She doesn't excuse laziness. She doesn't romanticize self-sabotage. She understands that self-love is not always soft. Sometimes it's firm. Sometimes it's waking up early when you don't feel like it. Sometimes it's choosing the hard conversation instead of the easy silence. Sometimes it's walking away even when your heart wants to stay. A high-value woman has a vision for her life. Not a vague wish, but a clear picture of who she is becoming. She knows what she stands for. She knows what she will no longer tolerate. And every day, through small, consistent actions, she votes for that future version of herself. She understands that energy is everything. The energy you bring into a room shapes the experience before a single word is spoken. So she guards her energy fiercely. She doesn't entertain drama. She doesn't gossip. She doesn't engage in conversations that diminish her spirit. She chooses environments that elevate her, challenge her, and inspire her. She is not perfect, and she does not try to be. She is real. She is grounded. She allows herself to make mistakes, but she refuses to repeat lessons that life has already taught her. She learns. She adapts. She evolves. A high-value woman understands the power of patience. She knows that real success, real love, real fulfillment are built over time. She does not rush the process. She trusts it. She shows up, does the work, and lets time do its job. She understands that delayed gratification is the price of extraordinary results. And listen closely to this. She does not wait for confidence to act. She acts and confidence follows. She does not wait for clarity to begin. She begins and clarity emerges. She does not wait for someone to save her. She becomes the woman she once needed. Her presence is steady. Her words are intentional. Her life is aligned. She knows that becoming high value is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a daily practice, a series of choices made moment by moment, choices to honor herself, choices to grow, choices to rise. She understands that when she changes, her life must change. Her relationships must change. Her opportunities must change. Because the world responds not to what you want, but to who you believe you are. And every morning, she recommits to her vision, to her standards, to her self-respect. She reminds herself that she is not here to play small, to blend in, or to settle. She is here to expand, to lead, to live fully expressed. This is what it means to become a high-value woman. Not perfection, not performance, but power. Quiet, grounded, unshakable power built from within, carried with grace, and expressed through action every single day. I want you to feel this in your body right now, because becoming a high-value woman is not an idea you memorize. It's an identity you decide. It's the moment you stop waiting for permission and start moving as if your life matters deeply, because it does. A high-value woman doesn't wake up asking, "What do they expect from me?" She wakes up asking, "Who must I become today to honor my purpose?" And that shift alone changes how she walks into rooms, how she speaks, how she loves, how she says no without guilt and yes without fear. You see, value is not something you demand from the world. It's something you embody so consistently that the world has no choice but to respond. High-value women don't chase validation because they generate it internally. They don't shrink to be liked, and they don't perform to be chosen. They choose themselves first, not in arrogance, but in alignment. And when you align your standards with your soul, everything else recalibrates: relationships, opportunities, confidence, energy. Most people think high value is about appearance, status, or money. Those are surface expressions. Real value is invisible at first. It's discipline when no one is watching. It's emotional regulation when chaos shows up. It's integrity when shortcuts are tempting. It's knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to negotiate it in moments of loneliness. A high-value woman would rather be alone than be diminished. She understands that solitude used well is a training ground, not a punishment. She invests in herself daily, not only in skills, but in her nervous system, her mindset, her health, her spiritual and emotional resilience. She knows that confidence isn't loud, it's grounded. It's the calm certainty that comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and you do it, you build self-trust. And self-trust is magnetic. People can feel it before you ever speak. A high-value woman knows how to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. She doesn't numb herself with distractions when things get hard. She leans in, learns, adapts. She asks better questions. What is this teaching me? How is this shaping me? That mindset alone turns pain into power. She doesn't see herself as a victim of circumstances, but as the author of her responses. She understands boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They let in what nourishes and keep out what drains. She doesn't over-explain her boundaries because she knows clarity doesn't require justification. When she says no, it's clean. When she commits, it's wholehearted. People respect her not because she demands it, but because she respects herself too much to accept less. A high-value woman is intentional with her energy. She knows energy is her most precious currency. She doesn't spend it on gossip, chaos, or proving herself to people who have already decided not to see her. She pours her energy into growth, contribution, creativity, and connection. And because of that, her presence feels different. It feels calm. It feels safe. It feels powerful without being aggressive. She communicates with honesty and empathy. She can express her needs without manipulation and hear feedback without collapsing. Emotional intelligence is one of her greatest assets. She can be soft without being weak and strong without being hardened. She knows vulnerability is not oversharing, it's truth shared with discernment. A high-value woman doesn't rush timelines that aren't aligned. She's patient, but she's not passive. She takes action, but she trusts divine timing, natural timing, human timing. She understands that forcing what isn't ready only creates suffering. So she prepares herself instead. She becomes the woman who can hold the life she desires before it arrives. She pays attention to her inner dialogue because she knows the voice she listens to most will shape her destiny. She speaks to herself with firmness and compassion. When she fails, she doesn't shame herself, she recalibrates. When she succeeds, she doesn't downplay it, she integrates it. She celebrates growth, not perfection. A high-value woman understands that love is not meant to cost her identity. She does not confuse intensity with intimacy or attachment with devotion. She chooses partners, friendships, and environments that reflect her standards, not her wounds. And when something no longer aligns, she has the courage to let go, even when it hurts, because she knows holding on to what diminishes her is more painful long term. She is financially conscious, not driven by fear but by freedom. She learns how money works because she refuses to outsource her security. She sees herself as a steward of her resources, not a slave to them. Independence for her is not about rejecting support, it's about having choice. A high-value woman lives with purpose beyond herself. She asks, how can I serve? How can I contribute? Because contribution expands confidence faster than achievement alone. When you know your life makes a difference, you stand taller, you speak clearer, you love deeper. And understand this, becoming high value is not about becoming someone else. It's about unbecoming everything you were conditioned to be that isn't true. It's shedding people-pleasing, scarcity thinking, self-abandonment, and fear-based decisions. It's remembering who you were before the world told you to be smaller. There will be moments when choosing this path feels lonely. That's normal. Elevation requires separation. Not everyone can come with you to the next level, and that doesn't make you unkind, it makes you honest. A high-value woman grieves what she outgrows, but she doesn't go back to it. Every day, she asks herself one powerful question: what would the highest version of me do right now? And then this is the key, she does that, not perfectly, consistently. Over time, those small aligned choices compound into an unshakable identity. You don't become high value by convincing others. You become high value by deciding that your life is sacred, your time is meaningful, your energy is finite, and your potential is vast. When you live from that truth, you don't have to announce who you are. The way you move through the world says it for you.